Hello. I'm going to give it some time. I hope everyone can hear me okay. If you are listening right now, please let me know in the comment section if you can hear me okay. Hello, everybody. Okay, good. How is everyone doing? Hello. Good to see y'all. I know it's been a while. Good evening. Let's see. Um, y'all bear with me because I'm trying to remember how to use the StreamYard, so forgive me. Um, got okay, is this one in a million? Hello, how are you? I see sis, let's be real. Good to see you. Where have you been? We're gonna talk about it, y'all. Hey, Drip Guy, good to see you. Hey, Teresa. Hey, Tasha. Hey, Peter. Hey, Mama Eve. Good to see y'all. Hey, Tahid. I hope I pronounced that right. Hey, Alice. Mystery Lady. Good to see you. Hello, Zoop. Long hair don't care. Good to see you. Hey, MM. Yeah, it has been a while. I think it's been what, about a month? Hey, Essie. Yeah, I definitely needed to kind of take a step back and kind of recoup. I hope everybody's doing well. Um, Yeah, it's been a minute. It was definitely not planned. I did not plan to be gone this long. Um, I think the last time I had spoke with y'all, I was letting y'all know that I was going to be celebrating my birthday, but I like to kind of celebrate the whole month. Not so much saying that I'm doing something every single day of the month, but I definitely do indulge for the month, just kind of focus on the things that I would like to do, pouring back into myself, um, just really like doing more self-care, doing my massages, facials, all the things, to just help you relax and um, all that stuff. So I really enjoyed my birthday. It was very nice. Um, my husband definitely did his big one. It was very nice, the things that he did. And, we kind of had some little mini vacations. I also had took off work. My husband took off. He always takes off like a week around my birthday. So it was really nice to be able to spend, that quality time, and not have to worry about going to work. So it was really good. I really enjoyed my birthday. Hey, Ebony, good to see you. I missed y'all too. Hey, Cece. Hey, Auntie's love. So, that was part of the reason why I kind of stepped away for a little bit. But like I said, it wasn't so much planned for me to have been gone this long. I just, I don't know. I just kind of felt like I needed to just kind of detox because I feel like over these past 2 years, it has been a lot of information that I was taking in on top of just really trying to, dig in to a lot of, what was going on with Olivia. And it was just a lot of heavy stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it just started to weigh heavy on me. Um, it's definitely a lot. And I know a lot of y'all would, kind of speak to that in the comments. You would say, I don't see how you're able to react to her. I don't see how you're able to watch her videos. Even my husband was saying the same thing because it was hard for him to even hear the video playing in the background when I would be trying to, do my recording and editing and stuff. So it was definitely a lot on top of just, seeing the things that, she was portraying on the internet when it comes to how she is with her children, how she talks very nasty towards people. It was just a lot, to take in. And I also know some of you would say, I hope, you're keeping yourself covered, which I understood why y'all were saying that because from a spiritual standpoint, it really can become heavy, like extremely heavy. Especially when that's not what you're used to being around. Like I'm very particular about, who I associate with in my real personal life. I keep my circle very small. I'm very mindful of the type of people that I allow around myself, around my children. And, I just try to keep my energy, pretty clear of negativity. And so when you take into consideration, just if you're looking at the full 2 years that, I have been on here doing reactions and not really taking a break, it was really starting to, like I said, become very heavy on my spirit. Um, so yeah, definitely very draining. Um, Thank you. I appreciate the happy belated birthdays. Uh, I'm trying to keep into these comments because I don't want to get too far off and miss some of y'all's comments. Yeah, I definitely did get plenty of rest. And I definitely enjoyed my birthday. Thank you for asking or, wishing that. Yeah, that's true. We all need a detox. That is for sure. Um, One Love, is so good to see you. I gotta go back and hit rewind. It's all good. I appreciate you, coming in and saying hello. Yeah, it does become exhausting. It's very exhausting. And it gets to a point where it's like, okay, what's the point? Honestly. Like I feel like I came um and I did what I was supposed to do. And so I just, when I look at the past, mm, I'll say like the past 4 or 5 videos that I uploaded, excuse me, it really was starting to get to that point where I was really like going back and forth with, what would be the reason for me to continue in doing these reactions because I feel like I've said all that I really could say, when it comes to this situation. Yeah, it's always going to be, Olivia coming on here saying something for shock value. It's always going to be something that can be said, to kind of, pick apart and speak to it and, show like frustration and, um, even just being angered by some of the stuff she does and says. But it's like at the end of the day, I had to really ask myself, what more can I say that I haven't said already? You know? And, when I look at how she is with her children, it just really started to kind of get to me more than it was, affecting me before because when you are the type of mother that is naturally a nurturer and you truly have a love and appreciation for your own children, and you know how you are with your children, you know how you care for them, you know how you tend to them, you give them your time and your attention, you try your hardest to pour into them in a way that will be lasting for them to be able to look back and see the type of mother you were to them. um, you take those small moments to make sure that you're doing everything you possibly can to raise your children in the right way. And when you look and you consume the type of behavior and the type of parenting style that Olivia shows towards her children, it's very difficult. It's very difficult to watch. It's very hard to watch. And that was really what segued my reactions um, from it being where I was pretty much speaking to what was going on a couple of years ago between her and Jasmine. That was what segued me into really starting to react to Olivia because it was just a lot of things that I wasn't really seeing a lot of people speak to. And I wanted to, for my own purposes, I wanted to really get more of a feel of who Olivia was as a person, you know? And it just became this thing, where I just started noticing so many things that were just wrong. Um, and like I said, I do have a very sensitive place in my heart for children in general. And to just see children being mistreated and being ignored and being dismissed in the way that Olivia does to her children on a constant basis, it was just difficult to watch and consume. Um, See, I took my own mini break from watching her for a couple of months. She just gets to me and makes me so mad. I get it. Hey, Conscious Reality, good to see you. Only time I look at her mess is when one of you ladies react to her. I can't watch her one on one. How she treats them kids makes me sicker. Yeah, I get it. It is hard. Extremely heavy and draining. Yeah, for sure. I'm about to take a break from her shenanigans as well. Today was the last straw. I understand. Hey, the life of Tiffany, good to see you. When I saw her crumbling AJ picture, I can't anymore. Oh wow. Hey, Ganesh, good to see you. Yeah, I've been in and out. I would say these past maybe 4 or 5 days, I've been kind of in and out, just kind of seeing what was going on over there on her channel. And it just kind of, solidified, what I was already feeling, that nothing really has changed. It's still her treating her children the way she does, talking to them the way she does, still, wanting to tussle with the people on the internet. It was just confirming to me that me stepping away was the best thing, you know? Um, hey, LD, good to see you. The behavior she displays is appalling. I can't watch her independently. I also feel she's unhinged and unfit. Yeah, it's just becoming so redundant, honestly. And, like I've been saying in a few of my videos here lately, um, Olivia does what she does for shock value. She knows exactly what she's doing. She has said so many times that she loves to troll people. She listens to what people say, and she uses those things as talking points. She uses those conversations as a way to, you know, um, kind of get a reaction in the way she titles her videos. This is what Olivia does. Like, she knows that people are going to respond. People are going to say something when she says something that is very, low and ignorant and just completely disgusting. That's what she wants. She craves that attention because she knows in essence it's helping her to gain more money because of the clicks and views and because of, everybody doing their own individual reaction videos on her. She knows exactly what she's doing. Um the behavior is getting worse in my opinion. I agree. Long care, don't care. I really do feel you there. Hey, Hudak, good to see you. She needs to find another way to troll instead of doing horrible things to her children. But, the thing is, Olivia doesn't really have a moral compass. So, you saying that, all of us feeling that and thinking that and agreeing with you, we can clearly see as being something that she should know, you know, there should be some level of knowing that, okay, I can't cross this line right here. But there is no bottom. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to the things that Olivia is willing to do for a click and a view, she knows it's all about getting money. And if that means exploiting her children, if that means throwing her children under the bus, if that means using her children as a way to trigger people, to troll people, to create conversations across this sector where people are hopping on their channels and talking about it, that's what she's going to do. And it's very unfortunate because although, yeah, she's making money from it, she doesn't see the lingering damage that it's presently causing to her children, but what it's going to do in the long run. It's going to be a residual effect that her children are going to have to figure out how to navigate. I mean, even when you look at the three older children, I mean, can you imagine what all they're going to have to do to really try to process in their mind what all they have experienced with their mom and the aftermath of what has transpired, where she's in a whole other state and they're not with her. So, we can sit here and we can say all the things that she should be thinking, but I don't know why, it's so easy for her to really use her children in the way that she does and not feel any type of, remorse for how she is affecting her children. You know, it's really sad. Hey, butterfly kisses. Um, did you hear about Gamer Bay's bad charges? And she had him around the kids, and he was so comfortable hitting AJ and Kai. Sad if he is the baby's father. I did hear some things about it. And you're right, it is sad. But we already knew that Olivia wasn't vetting these people that she was letting around her children. We know that Olivia puts herself before her children. You know, there's never been any time that we've witnessed here on this internet where she has showed good judgment when it came to, protecting her children at all costs. She's always thinking about herself and whatever she wants and needs in the moment. That's what she focuses on. And her children is an afterthought. But, when you look at how this man was talking to her, when you go back to the recording, that voicemail that he left and the way he was cussing at her and talking down on her and the stuff that he said, I said even then, that is a man who don't respect you. It was very clear that man didn't respect her. And if a man doesn't respect you as a woman, he's not going to respect your children either. And so, as I've stated many times, and I know many people have also stated, Olivia is very much a pick me. She loves to make it seem like everybody else are pick me's, and she's so, above that. But her behavior, her actions have showed that she really is that type of person. And, because she has desired and longed to be in a relationship with a man, she has subjected her children into some very bad choices and really bad situations because of how much she desires to have someone. Even when you look at how quickly she makes decisions in moving these men into her home with her children, there's so many wrong things that we can pick apart and we can speak on, but it's like she continues to make these bad choices because she doesn't get the dangers that she continues to put her children in. And unfortunately, the people that are the closest to her, they enable her and they don't seem to. I don't, I'm still trying to figure that out because it's like on one hand, I'm looking at it like they really do enable her. More so, it's her mom. We don't really see a lot of people that she is close to besides her mother. But I'm also looking at it from the standpoint too, where I feel like even her mother kind of shows behaviors that I don't think she really even knew any better. I think Olivia is kind of, living a life that resembles the life that her own mother lived. And so if you don't know better, how do you teach your child better? You know what I'm saying? So I kind of see both sides of it, but it still makes it very unfortunate that she's raising, you know, a whole other generation that has the potential to follow in her footsteps as well. And that's why my prayers really started going out to her children because they don't really have anybody else that can really stand in the gap to show them a different way. You know what I'm saying? Um, I don't watch her. I've been watching the Nolan Wells case out of Mississippi. I've I've been watching that a little bit. I haven't really been following it fully, but that whole story is really sad, and it's even more sad when you got the parents involved that are not even doing right by their own child. Like that story is very heartbreaking. The emotional aftermath she's creating and dishing out is diabolical. Yeah, it's so much to be said about that, but I totally feel you. Hey, Jinx Legends, good to see you. Hey, Tonic. But yeah, I just kind of felt like I had to take a step back. It was a lot that, was starting to kind of, make me feel a certain way. I'm pretty level-headed. I don't just not too much really rattles me or makes me get out of character, but I just started noticing even when I was doing my commentary on her, it was really starting to make me feel a certain way. You know what I mean? Um, and so I was like, yeah, let me kind of back off of this for a minute. But I don't know, honestly, um, what I'm going to be doing going forward. I've really been thinking about that. Um, like I said, I don't see the purpose anymore in continuing to do reactions on her because I just I feel like sometimes, God can put you in a situation where, yeah, there's purpose in it, but once he removes you out of that situation and you continue to do what he's telling you not to do anymore, then it's like you're no longer in purpose. And now you can actually um, reap some things that can come your way because you're being disobedient. And I honestly feel like that's kind of where I've been. Like, God has been really shifting me in a different direction, like letting me know, look, yeah, I did tell you to come on here and speak what you spoke, but now if you continue in this way, now you're doing something that I did not ask you to do. And so I really try my hardest to be very sensitive when it comes to, how God uses me and how I'm moving in different ways, because I shared with y'all kind of early on when I really started doing reactions on Olivia. This is something that God has had me do a lot over the years, not so much on YouTube, but he has made it to where I have kind of been a part of, um, I guess you can say, like, he'll kind of send people my way and I will kind of help them navigate life. I will give them encouragement. I will, just kind of help them in wherever they are. And it's been amazing how God does that, because it's never something that I am planning myself. It just seems like he'll just send me somewhere and have me do certain things. And it's like, wow. Um, it's just one of those situations where you won't really understand it unless you're in it and you can see how God is really moving in that. Because I know at previous jobs that I've worked, it's like God will have me speak something to somebody that I didn't even know. And I would be so scared, like, Lord, are you sure you want me to say this to this girl? I don't know her. I don't even know if what I'm saying is even going to make sense. But it never failed. Every time he has put me in those situations, those people would either start bawling their eyes out, they would confirm everything that I said to them, because I was just going off of what the Lord was putting on my heart to say. And I've had so many experiences like that where people was like, nobody but God could have said that. Nobody but God could have shown you that. And so I've always kind of lived my life in a way where I try my hardest to be very sensitive to how God chooses to use me, in that way. And so that's why, my take on how I chose to do commentary was different. I came from a Christian perspective. You know what I'm saying? Because when I looked at Olivia, I didn't want to look at her as just somebody who was just doing evil things and was, just treating her children wrong. Although it was very clear that was really what we were watching. But I tried to look at her as someone who had a soul, and their soul was at stake. Losing their soul was at stake. And so that's why in my commentary, I would try to take the time out to really advise her in a way that would lead to her actually thinking things through, like really taking a step back to kind of think on some things that maybe she never really thought about, and hopefully her make the decision to want to change, not because I was telling her she needed to change, but hoping that she want to change for herself and for her children. And so it wasn't so much that I was trying to come into this sector and, you know, force that on her or on anybody. I was just showing up as the person that I've always been, um, and I was really hoping that some kind of way I could plant seeds that would allow her to really um, make the decision to be a better person. You know what I'm saying? To be a better mother to her children. And so it definitely seemed like the more truth was being exposed, the more she pushed back harder. And so in those situations, it's like, okay, you can only, show a person who they are um, so many times before, either they're just going to, just do what they have to do within themselves to say, you know what, I have to take accountability for these things, and I have to, make the decision to do what I got to do for myself and for my children to be better. Or they're just going to continue to spiral out and continue to make the same mistakes because they're pushing against the very thing that they don't want to admit to, or they don't even want to see and acknowledge about themselves. And so that's what I just was noticing about her. I just saw that, she's very stubborn. She just has this thing with her where she feels she has to continue to prove everybody wrong. She has to be the one that comes out on top. And she doesn't see that in her doing that, she's creating more chaos in her own life. And with that chaos comes destruction. Her life is really just falling apart in a lot of ways, and she's not seeing it because she's focused on the wrong things. And I don't know, I just knew for myself, like, I had to just really make the decision to just say, you know what, I've done all that I know to do, and so the only thing that I can do really is to just leave her in God's hands and just hope and pray that God can do something. Because I don't ever want to have the attitude that, there's no hope for someone to be better, or um to do things different. I don't want to write anybody off like that, because I'm not God, and I can't put that on somebody. I look at my own personal life, and I know I've done some things in my past, and I've made a lot of mistakes in my past. And it was easy for people to have been able to write me off. But I know who I am today, and I know that's not who I am anymore. And so I just always try to extend that to other people, which was the grace that I really was trying to have for her. Even though I know a lot of people didn't understand it, that's where it was coming from, because I feel like, none of us are able to move through life without having God's grace. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all need his grace. And so I just try to show up in my commentary giving that, because again, I didn't want to write her off as this is always going to be who she is. And it's just very unfortunate. It really is. It's very unfortunate that this is what we're witnessing. And she doesn't seem to have any shame or embarrassment. She doesn't seem to know when to stop and when to say, you know what, I can't do this anymore. She just continues to push against it. And, we can sit here and we can call out every karma, every situation that has happened in her life where, we can see clearly, she's getting so much coming back to her, but she continues to push against it because she refuses to see how life is dealing with her, you know? And you can only lie to yourself for so long. That's the delusion. That's the not wanting to take, responsibility for the wrong that she's done. And clearly, what we see coming back at her, she doesn't want to acknowledge it. But what happens in that is the more you fight against that, the harder life is going to have to deal with you. And what makes it even more sad is her children. They don't have a say. They just have to go along with how life is dealing with their mom, and they're going to have to deal with that. They're going to have to deal with the pushbacks that are coming because their mother doesn't seem to understand that when you do these types of things, when you treat people the way you treat people, it's going to come back. That karma is going to deal with you. And her children, they can't find any type of safety in the midst of that because they're with their mother. Every wrong decision that their mother makes, they're right there subjected into it. Every bad choice that their mother makes when it comes to men, their children, I mean, her children are right there. And so that's really where my heart has been when it comes to like really praying for her children, because I really worry for them. I worry that, they at their young age, especially AJ, they have seen so much that they should not have seen. AJ has seen so much that he should not have seen in 4 short years of life, you know? And so I just feel it's very sad. It's very sad and it's very unfortunate that this is where we are. This is what we're watching. And it doesn't seem like she's letting up. It doesn't seem like she is at a point where she can see that she's gone through all these things. She can recall all these things that she has gone through when it comes to certain relationships, but she seems to be oblivious to all of the things that her children have witnessed and have been subjected to. But I don't know. I don't know. Um, we understand you have to actually watch her and give your commentary, where most of us can't stomach watching her on her own. Yeah, I understand. If God instructs you to fall back, listen, he got this. I agree with you. I totally agree with you. I'm a true believer that, you know, warning comes before destruction. And I don't ever want to make the mistake in doing something where I'm feeling the nudges. I know when God is telling me to don't go here, don't do this, don't say this, you know, I know when God is speaking to me. I know how he communicates with me. And I think a lot of us, to some degree, do. We look at, how, you can be somewhere and you'll say, something told me not to go there. Or you can walk in a room. Sometimes your spirit just don't feel right. Or you can be in a situation and it's like, just everything about that whole situation just makes your skin crawl. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like you can feel when something is just not what it's supposed to be. We can say, that's intuition, but God does have a way of communicating with us. And I just, over the years, I have learned to know how God is speaking a thing to me. And even when it comes to dreams, people try to, I guess, make me feel bad about the fact that I shared that I had dreams. And I just would say to anybody, like, if you don't believe in dreams, you don't believe in God. You know what I mean? Because God is the one who gives dreams. It's all throughout the Bible where God has given people dreams, men and women. He even said in the last days, your young men will dream dreams, your older men will have visions. Like, this is a God thing. This is what God does. He's always done this. And so, if God is showing me a thing, which he has done a very long time, I tend to listen to that. And, during the time where, I've been on this break, I will share this because I do feel it's relevant to what we're speaking about. But I did receive a dream about this whole situation and God really letting me know what I needed to do. Um, and in this particular dream, I was looking up into the heavens and I saw this dragon. And the dragon had a hammer in its hands, and the dragon threw the hammer and it hit a tree. And as soon as it hit the tree, I saw that I was looking back up into the heavens, and I had a knowing that what this was pertaining to was this YouTube sector. And I began to repent. I began to cry out to God to forgive me if I've said or done anything wrong that I wasn't supposed to say. And when I woke up from that dream, I was really praying and I was asking the Lord to help me understand what he was showing me in this dream. And he began to help me understand that the reason why I began to repent is because I was needing to make sure that my hands were clean before judgment came. See, when you look at the dragon in this particular dream, that is a mirror of Satan. Satan is depicted as a dragon in the scriptures, just like he's depicted as a snake. But the hammer was representing judgment. And when that hammer was thrown and it hit a tree, trees in the Bible are very representative of people. God, throughout the scriptures, always refer to people as trees, as, different ways he will speak in parables, or if he uses it as symbols in how he's trying to teach us and help us understand certain things. And so God was helping me understand that there was judgment coming to this sector. And prior to me seeing that part, I saw AJ. And it was like AJ was kind of being, I don't want to say worship, but it was like people were really like giving like a admiration to this little boy, but it was being shown in a way where he was being um upheld in a God-like way, basically kind of putting him on this pedestal that wasn't what was indicative of how God intended. And so it took me some time to really understand what was being shown, but God helped me understand that when you look at how, Olivia's children are being talked about, um, in some ways, when you look at some of the conversations that are being had when it comes to AJ, I don't feel those conversations are always coming from a place of concern. I feel it's almost like they're trying to find sensational moments that they can speak on to bring attention. And so, one of the things that always kind of stuck in my mind is how AJ's father had said that, AJ is a star. People are hating on my son because he's a star, because he gets the views and all of this foolishness. And Olivia has said the same thing, even to the point of her saying that she was considering, starting a YouTube channel because, she sees that people gravitate to her children. The difference is some people are not really speaking on her children in a way of concern. It's more so like, let me speak on these particular things because I know it's going to get the click and the view. And so for me to see that in the dream where he was kind of being worshiped or upheld in a way that was not um giving him the type of attention that he needed, um and then the next part, I see this judgment coming. I understood that what God was showing me was that he was going to be bringing judgment to this sector. And so all I know is when you speak on someone, there has to be a purpose. There has to be a good intention or a motive that aligns with there being purpose in why you're speaking on certain things. Like when y'all listen to my commentary, I would point out things to her because in some ways, she would try to hide behind certain things that she was doing, or she would try to make it seem like she wasn't this particular person, but I had to kind of point out some of the things in her behaviors, in the way that she may have, showed certain things in other lives to help her see that no, you really are this person. And it became like a back and forth because she was always trying to get ahead of certain truths that were being exposed. But even when it came to her children, it was always me trying to point out things in a way that she would be able to see that this is what you're doing. This is not cute. This is not normal. So, in a lot of ways, she was trying to normalize dysfunctional ways in how she was parenting her children. But it was like I was pointing those things out to her to let her see no, this is not normal. This is not how you treat your children. This is what is. This is the reason why AJ is acting out this way because of what you're doing in front of him, how you speak to the phone when you're on live. He's hearing that. And so I just feel like, in so many ways, um, God will allow things to happen for a certain period of time. And once that time gets to a point where God is like, okay, I've had enough, that's when he steps in. And I just know how I felt when I was in that dream. I could feel fear because I knew that this was serious. I don't know how judgment will come. I just know that God was showing me that that is what's about to happen. And I could feel a shift. I don't know if y'all remember, but when Joey first came onto not when he first, but he had did a live, and I did do a reaction to that live, and I said I wasn't going to react on any other videos that he did if he was to continue. But I said in that video, and I think I entitled that video, things are not going to be the same. It was something that I picked up on even during that time. And that was what, November, December last year. I felt a shift. I felt like something different was happening. And I really couldn't put my finger on it, but I felt like things were going to be different. It just didn't feel the same anymore. And, even early on, I had said, I don't know how long I'm gonna be doing these videos. I was just really just kind of going with the flow, however I felt in the moment or what I felt was needed to be done. I was just kind of going off of that, but I knew that there was going to be a time coming soon where I wasn't going to be doing these reactions. And so I remember feeling that. And I literally was like, I don't know what this is, but it just feels like things are going to change. And I see the change. It's different. It's different. Um, I'm trying not to say too much because, you know, I try to be very mindful of what I say because I really do try not to be offensive towards anybody. Sometimes you can say certain things and it could be misunderstood or it can be taken out of context. So I really try to be careful of what I say, but I just know that, you know, we don't know God's plans when it comes to people. We can sit here and we can watch a person's life every single day, but we don't know at the end of their life who they will be. We can watch a train wreck happen right before our eyes when it comes to the lives that people show, whether they're on social media, whether they're in your real personal life, like watch the train wreck. But at the end of the day, we don't know what the final say is going to be when it comes to their soul. And so I try my hardest to leave room for God to do what God does. Only God can save. Only God can correct. Only God can heal. You know what I'm saying? I can't put myself in a position to say, this is who I see this person is showing up to be today, and this is who they're going to continue to be. I can't say that. And so if God is showing me that he's bringing judgment, I have to look at that from a standpoint of saying there is something about this woman's life that he finds value in it. There's something about her life that is worthy of him to have to step in and right some wrongs. And I'm not in a position to sit here and tell God, but God, didn't you hear what she said? Don't you see how she treats her kids? Who am I to say that? Because God sees all of it. He sees every last bit of it. But I feel like from God's point of view, I think he sees more than what we see, especially when you look at how things are being done when it comes to how this sector reacts to Olivia and her children. I've always said in my commentaries since I've been doing reactions. Everybody doesn't react the same. Everybody says things that, you know, is based off of where they are. If they are in a position to want to give advice, or they're giving constructive criticism, they're trying to be a help and trying to be positive in how they're communicating with her and trying to get her to see, you know, certain things that she may not be seeing. Those are the type of people that you see doing reactions. But you also have another type of, reaction that's coming towards her. And it's not always positive. It's not always coming from a good place. And so I'm just saying God sees all of it. And at the end of the day, I just feel like if there was a microscope being held to our lives, where everything we were doing in real time on a daily basis was being broadcasted for the whole internet to watch, I'm pretty sure there would be some things that people would find fault on. There would be some things that people would be able to say, yeah, you shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have said that. I would have done it this way. Why did you do it like that? Like there's room for critique and criticism, not being constructive, but criticism. And so I just feel like we're going to see things in Olivia's life that don't look like the average life. You know what I mean? Because it's different. It's different. And so I just feel at some point it just becomes redundant. Like, what is the point at this point of picking apart everything this girl does and says? Because we already know she's coming from a place where obviously she didn't really have anybody in her life showing up in a real way to teach her the right way of things. And I'm not going to sit here and blame her mother for everything, because Olivia's a grown woman. But I can speak to the fact that if a girl can drop out of school in 8th grade, obviously there are no real adults that cared enough about her. They weren't around. I mean, I think we can all be, honest and say that. That is that is wild that a child at that age can literally drop out of school and there will be nobody to stop that from happening. But when you fast forward to Olivia being now a grown adult, especially at the age she's at, there is something within you, especially when you're at an age where you have children, and this woman has 6 now. There's no excuse why she has not done the work within herself, because you cannot convince me otherwise that at some point in this woman's life, she did not recognize that she was in a position in her own life where she knew that things weren't right. She had to at some point be able to see that where she is in life, or where she was in life, that something was wrong. And she had to do something about it, to be different, to change it. If not for herself, for her children. We all at some point have to come to that place within ourselves, because I'm not the type of person to, blame your past for every situation that you go through. Because yeah, we all can look back and say, yeah, we had a hard life, or yeah, this part of my life was very challenging, but it's not an excuse for you to be a victim. If anything, it should motivate you that much more to work harder, to strive harder, to do the work so that your circumstances will not dictate who you will show up to be in life. And so I just feel like at the end of the day, there's a lot of, components that made up Olivia being the Olivia that we see today. There's a lot of components, and it's a lot to unravel because there's so many layers to this. There's so many layers. But I don't see how picking this woman apart every single day is helping her get to a place in her life where she can finally do better for herself and for her children. Because we don't know how long it's going to take. It could take another 5 years. Are we just going to be on here picking this woman apart for 5 years until she finally changes at the 5 year 1 day mark? Like, I'm just not understanding what is the goal here. What is the goal? Because it can't be, I really want to see this woman do better. The goal can't be, I'm really concerned about her children. And so that is the position that I truly believe God is looking from. He's seeing the motives and the intentions of those that are really speaking on her and her children. And that is why judgment is coming. And, I can speak like this freely, in other circles that I'm in, because a lot of people understand that is how I speak. But speaking this way here, I know it's different because this is not what y'all are used to hearing in this particular, you know, um, space. You come here, y'all watch what you watch, you know, and you have your opinions and you see a lot of things that I see. But I'm really just trying to, without being, offensive towards anybody, because that's not my heart to do. I have to be honest. I have to be honest in what it is that I have had to really try my hardest to navigate through, because this was different for me. This was a very different space for me. My husband didn't even want me doing this. He didn't. But he understood, and he has understood the ways in how God has led me in certain places and in certain spaces. And so he trusts that. But he didn't want me doing this. My friend, you know, she had to bow out, because it's not that she didn't understand the purpose. She didn't understand the assignment that I was on. It was just triggering for her. And I understood, because I understand what she's gone through. Olivia is very triggering in different ways, and she enjoys triggering people. She intentionally speaks on things that she knows is triggering. She intentionally treats her children in ways that she knows is triggering. So it's a lot to this. And I understand that a lot of y'all get it. I've seen your comments. I've always made it a point to read all of y'all's comments. I know where a lot of y'all are coming from. I know the type of people that a lot of y'all are. Just based off of the ways y'all have conversated with me in the comment section. And I've even seen comments where some of y'all would like tell me, just be careful from a spiritual standpoint. Be careful. And I heard y'all. I understood exactly why y'all was saying that. Totally understood it. But sometimes God will have you go through some hard places, and he will have you walk into some places that is not always accepting. It's not always light and friendly. Sometimes we have to go into these spaces because everybody that God is trying to save, they ain't in the light. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes God will send you in some very dark spaces just to reach one person. And you have to be willing to go. You have to be that one to say, Lord, send me. I'll go. I appreciate y'all for being here. I know this is different. Honestly, I didn't even know what to say. I was praying before I even got on here. I'm like, Lord, give me the words to say because I know this is different. I know this is not what y'all are used to. Um, but I have to be true to who I am. This is truly who I am. This is me. You tried to give her some good advice, like a lot of us has tried, but she's just not going to listen. And you may be right. You really may be right. I just hope for her sake and for the sake of her children. I really do hope God gets a hold of her heart. I really do. Because she does have very precious children, and it just does something to me even when I see Kalani acting in the way that she does. It's learned behavior. Kalani has attitude, just like Olivia. The way she talks back to her mom, the same way we saw AJ talking back to his mom, you can see the writing on the wall. But I am hoping some kind of way because they're still at an age where it can be turned around. It's very possible. But the longer Olivia fights against what it is that God is trying to do with her, the more these ways are going to set into her children like concrete. And it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to, but there's time right now. Hey, One Love, I'm sorry, I wasn't even putting y'all's see, I'm still trying to figure this out. Um, as an empath, I understand where you're coming from. Be obedient to your calling and assignments he gives. Amen. Bless you. You have a beautiful heart. She would not understand. Hey, everything about Queen Bee. Good to see you. She's extremely defiant and not capable of listening to reason, in my opinion. Again, I'm not going to say you're wrong. I think, we have seen a lot of that behavior. A lot of it. But, I don't know. We truly appreciate your way of commentary. I appreciate that. I understand your commentary, and I'm glad. I'm glad to see that. God bless you, the balanced perspective. I feel you, One Love. I started out the same way, started my channel the same way, and here I am on the other side because she proves me wrong every time I start to think she's changed. Yeah. And I think, a lot of that too is because she does listen, but she doesn't listen for the right reasons. She listens to try to figure out how can she maneuver, how she can show her audience that what we're saying is not true. So she'll try to change it up in the way that you're speaking, but it's not real. She's not being authentic to herself. She's only doing it as a way to try to be deceptive because she doesn't want her audience to believe that what I'm saying, what you're saying, what everybody's saying about her is actually true. But I totally understand your heart on that. Um, it's very disappointing, especially when you truly, have a heart to want to see this girl do better. You genuinely are giving advice. You're genuinely trying to lead her in a right way, but yet it's like um she just doesn't see it. She doesn't acknowledge it. She doesn't appreciate it. She just rejects it. So it's definitely hard, being in that situation. We understood your approach. She has to acknowledge and take accountability first, ask for forgiveness, and be open to receiving healing, therapy, and make amends. I agree with you. Totally agree with you. But it takes great maturity to even come to that. And I just feel Olivia has not shown maturity yet. Um, to gain maturity requires you to exude humility. And Olivia is a very prideful person, you know? That's one of the things that, makes it very difficult for her to move beyond where she's at because of her pride. That pride is a dangerous thing. Welcome back, One Love. Hey, Candace, good to see you. Well, I hope you'll stay on YouTube and maybe cover something else. That's really what I'm trying to figure out. Um, I know it's been a lot of Olivia. It's been so much to cover. That's why it's been a lot of Olivia. But I did try to sprinkle some different stuff along the way. I just felt like I wasn't really getting um a lot of people tapping in to see the content. But I actually do want to speak on other things. I'm trying to figure that out, honestly. But I don't want to just completely leave because I do love the community that I created over here. Um, I've enjoyed getting to know a lot of y'all, you know? Um, so I definitely would like to stay and, just figure something out. But I'm just really trying to figure out how to do it because honestly, I do understand that the majority of the people that were watching, they were here because of the Olivia content. I'm gonna be very transparent with that. That is the reality. And so I'm just trying to figure out how to shift away from speaking on her onto something else that would be something that people would enjoy watching. That is a little tricky. Um, so although, that is, what I really would like, I'm just trying to figure out, is it even possible to do? But I definitely would love to stay connected, to a lot of y'all. Um, you try to give her grace as well. Yeah. Let's see. Hey, baby G and me, good to see you. New member. I appreciate it. I appreciate that. And see, now I have to try to figure out, because, I know a lot of y'all, you know, decided to become a member of the channel because, you know, maybe I don't know, maybe y'all came for different reasons. Maybe some of y'all enjoyed the content that I was doing with Olivia. Maybe some of y'all just enjoy getting to know me. I don't know, but I just know that I want to give y'all content that you actually want to see. But it has to be something that I don't mind doing. Like, honestly, I just feel like when it comes to doing commentary on Olivia, I'm not there. I'm just not there anymore. Hey, Miss Heaven, good to see you. You believe what she says. She would not start her children a YouTube channel. No, it's not that I believe what she says. I'm just saying that in her own um in her own mind, she does see AJ as being a star. She said it many times. I was only bringing that up because she really does see AJ as being a star. I mean, she's talked about um putting him in movies and commercials. Um, you know, I just feel like that is her mindset. Like she views social media as, stardom. She views herself as a celebrity. And so that was what I was trying to convey um about that. Um I appreciate that, the super chat, baby G and me. Thank you so much. Totally appreciate that. Nice to see you back. We missed you. I missed y'all too. I really did. I love my Lord. Hey, one love. Where have you been? I've been waiting for you to pop up. Yeah, I don't know if I think you're just coming in. We kind of talked about a lot of that. You will have to start from the beginning, but I'm glad to see you on here. I love all the live truth teller creators. I hear you. And it be a lot of people that really do be trying to get Olivia to see the truth about a lot of things. It's just she's so, you know, she's just very dismissive of it because I don't think, and I think I've spoken about this in one of my videos, maybe a few, but Olivia really tries to. I think a lot of the reasons why Olivia lies a lot is because it's hard for her to deal with her truth. I honestly don't think Olivia could handle who she really is because you couldn't convince me that this woman is very unhappy with her life because when she's not on social media, there is a small moment of quietness where she's having to be face to face with her own truth and her own reality. And I know that she's not happy with where she is in life. I know this is not the ideal life that she desired. No matter how many times she tries to say otherwise or tries to make it seem like she's so happy and fulfilled, that girl is not happy. And she knows it. You definitely tried. You didn't cuss or anything. I'm gonna need the key to not speaking on her without cussing. That is hilarious. Y'all, I'm telling y'all, I have been delivered from cussing. It's been it's been a long time. I used to have a very bad mouth. I could cuss somebody up and down like it wasn't nothing. My favorite cuss words were MFs. Like, I was really bad at cussing, really bad. And trust me, like, I did not come out the womb like this. I had a hard life. I went through some hard things. I was angry. I was bitter. I was just over it. Like, I didn't have the patience to deal with people. Um, I saw where somebody, I think it was, I can't remember. I just remember seeing a comment where they said, what was it they said? They said, one love sounds like somebody who can't fight. And when I saw that, I told my friend, and we just busted out laughing. I'm like, well, God definitely has done a beautiful work in me if people actually believes that. Because that really is not my testimony. Like, for real. Um, just because I'm soft spoken don't mean I've always been soft spoken. Just because I try to, extend grace and I try to be positive and I try to, say the right things doesn't make me weak. It just means that I really made some hard choices in life to be a different person, to be a better person. But I had a very hard life, and I definitely um was in some fights, a few fights, more than I should have been because I was very angry. I was a very angry person. And so I found that to be very funny. Honestly, I wasn't even offended. I just thought it was funny. Excuse me. But it just, I was just telling my friend, like, we was just talking about it, and I'm like, yeah, it just really goes to show how much God has really dealt with me and has really changed my life. So I appreciate that comment. I really do. Um, I'm not a psychic, but calling out lies are important. I mean, I agree, calling out lies is important. Sometimes people don't really know um, what the truth is in their life if they're never shown the right way or shown right from wrong. I do agree that it is important. People do have to be held accountable for things that they're doing wrong. So I think that's where you was going with that. Hey, love and happiness. Good to hear you or see you. If you feel God calling you away from this, listen, we should obey our own convictions for sure. I agree. Totally agree with you. AJ has gotten really bad. When Liv tries to discipline him, he tells her, I don't care. I will run from you and I will hit you back. He also tells her, oh, yeah, well, watch what I will do then. Wow. Wow. Yeah, it's very sad, because AJ is very bright. He's a very intelligent young boy, and you can still see light in him. That's the thing. That's what, really started pulling on my heartstrings because you can still see light in him. He has he has a side of him that is very kind, and he's very loving, but he just acts out because he's not getting what he needs from Olivia. And I would never excuse his behavior because he shouldn't say or do the things he does, but I understand where it's coming from. And it's not all his fault. It really isn't. None of it really is his fault. Um, he's just doing what he's learned. And, can you imagine, all the things that that little boy has experienced from her, the way she talks down on him, the way she intentionally treats him differently, and he sees how differently she is with Kai. Like, that boy is hurt, and rightfully so. But I understand why he acts out the way he does. It's just very sad that that is the position he's being put in. And then, with him now being with his grandmother, I just think that's making it worse too because, Stella doesn't really just knows how to discipline either. She pretty much lets them do whatever. So there's still no structure there. But yeah, it's very sad. Um, let me see. It's mind-boggling. Liv and my oldest daughter are months apart in age. I'm pretty sure CPS would have shown up if we allowed my daughter to drop out of 8th grade. Yeah, I mean, that situation is very questionable. I don't think I will ever understand it because I don't think anybody would ever tell the truth about that whole situation. Well, I'm not gonna say everybody because we've only heard Olivia's version of that, but although she tries to protect Stella in a lot of ways now, I don't think we'll ever get the truth on that because Olivia does try to dress up her childhood as being pleasant, and it was, you know, a loving childhood, and she's always had supportive people around her, but it's just not adding up. It's not making sense. What do you think the solution is in the Olivia observation and exposing sector? Um, I'm not quite understanding your question. So you believe that God gave you a vision for those in your sector? I'm not speaking of anyone specifically. I'm just saying that what God was showing me was judgment was coming to the sector. I wasn't saying that it was coming to someone specifically. I don't know all of that. I just know judgment was coming. In what way? How? I don't know. I just knew that I needed to make sure my hands were clean, my heart was, where it needed to be, and I wouldn't be in the pathway of that judgment coming. But I don't know. I agree with you how everyone tearing her apart isn't healthy, and I do agree that there's layers, but she's old enough to know right from wrong. I agree with that. I totally agree. I just feel with Olivia, she definitely, in a lot of ways, she tries to, well, she doesn't try, she does depend on finding ways to forever be the victim in every situation. And you will never heal, you will never get beyond where you are when you do that because in every situation, there's always room for you to find fault in yourself where you can say, you know what, I shouldn't have done this. You know what, I could have done this better. Like, there's always room for us to check ourselves and, to speak honestly to where we fall short. And I just feel like in the ways that Olivia speaks on a lot of things, it's always everybody's fault but hers. And so, yeah, but I agree with you. Speak your heart. I'm here for it. I appreciate that, LD. I love hearing it from your perspective. You should listen to your husband, especially listen to God if you believe he's telling you to not do it. Yeah, I hear you. It's just when it came to my husband not wanting me to do it, like he's very protective and he didn't want me to get caught up in anything um that would cause me any type of hurt, or you know what I'm saying? Like he was just being very protective in that regard. But he does understand, how God uses me, and he understands in the ways that God has used me over the years. So although he didn't want me to do it, he understood why I was doing it. But I hear you. Also, these men, the last three fathers, need to step up and handle their responsibilities. It's easy for them to say she's keeping the kids away from them, but there is a court system that can help. I agree. And I just think, it does speak to the fact that they really don't care for these children. Like, it's clear. There's no way you can sit here and know this woman's YouTube channel and watch the videos, the same videos we're watching, and see how she's treating these children that you share with her, and they're not doing anything about it. I think that is insane. So I totally agree with you there. Yes, we have to keep our kids in prayer. Yes, definitely. Liv also needs to be kept in prayer. We as Christians are supposed to pray for each other. That is true. Are you halting Liv commentary? Yeah, I'm pretty much not going to be doing commentary on Olivia anymore. So I do understand there's going to be probably a lot of people that will unsubscribe, and that's okay. I already kind of, expected that before I went live because I did know I was going to have to speak on this. So I do understand that a lot of people did subscribe because I was speaking on Olivia, but where I'm at right now, I just don't feel there's any more purpose in me doing so because, like I was saying earlier, I have said everything that I could possibly say. I feel if I'm continuing to do reaction videos on her, I'm no longer in purpose anymore. Now I'm just speaking on this woman and, just um I'm trying to find the right word. Um I just feel, me continuing to do it, I'll just say there's just no more purpose in it, you know? Um I've said everything I can say, and I just feel like it's it's become redundant to the point where I don't feel there's any more fruit that I can give if I'm just saying the exact same thing over and over and over again. There's no fruit in it. And so I don't want to subject myself to that. I don't want to give that type of energy because that's not who I am. Everything I do, there has to be purpose in it, you know? Um, so yeah. Regardless to what we are used to, your message has been received tonight. I appreciate that. Totally appreciate those words. If God is leading you away, listen. I love live breakdowns. I appreciate you enjoying the videos. I really do. And I appreciate you for understanding. I also think it's weird how every party is not held accountable. I agree. And I feel it was very difficult for me to really speak on the things that I really wanted to speak on, because I knew it wasn't going to be received. And, I just feel like, for me, when I started really speaking about Olivia, I really wanted to get a full understanding. I didn't want to just see it from her viewpoint and from, her life. Although, there of true that there's a lot that we are not able to see from all parties, but we can't possibly ignore that, there's more to this story. There's a lot more to this that, I just feel it was very difficult to really investigate that further, because I just felt people didn't want to hear that. Some people were willing to have that conversation, but I just feel a lot of people wasn't willing to have that conversation. And when I do my deep dives on things, like I really go all the way in. I love exploring and trying to get a full picture of a thing. And it was just very difficult for me to really explore that when it came to my channel. And I know some people are like, this is your channel. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about. And I get that. It's just, my my goal was to do it as a community, as to really go on this journey together where people had open minds and were willing to kind of see a different perspective on things. You know what I mean? And I just feel that even though I would speak on some things like very lightweight, I was getting a lot of pushback. And so I was like, yeah, this is really not a space where I can just really just speak on everything the way I really wanted to. Cause I mean, me and my friend, we would have like real good conversations. And that's why I really loved when she would come on and we could really just talk. Like what y'all would capture in our podcast, like that's how we talk. Like we really go deep in some things and we really talk about it. And even my friend had to kind of hold back on certain things because she didn't want to get pushed back, from, the audience or from people who were watching. And so it just kind of felt like we both couldn't fully just be as transparent as we normally would like to be, because, it was just having that type of conversation, it wouldn't have been welcomed. But, I do agree with you. And it's very unfortunate, you know. Um, see. God will do something with her heart, but Liv needs to stop hardening her heart. She is a hurt and damaged little girl, and he is the only person who can help her, but she needs to allow him to. I totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. Being too religious will push your viewers away. People want a free space to call out her behaviors and lies. I mean, I understand that. I don't really know what being too religious means. But I do feel in some ways it was like I had to kind of what's the word? I felt like I had to kind of censor myself. And that's not always a good place to be in, where you can't, where you don't feel like you can just truly be yourself. I've had comments in the past where people felt like I was acting holier than thou, or I think I'm better than people because I don't cuss, or, just stuff like that. And it's like, that is not even who I am. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what that looks like I don't really know how to um defend myself from that, because I don't know what too religious means. I don't feel I'm a religious person. Um I love speaking on things that, is true to what I understand, as far as just the things that God has helped me to understand, just from my own personal life journey. I've gone through some things. I have encountered God in very real, miraculous ways. And I do naturally love to share that side of myself. But it's like, I just feel just speaking on God in general can be, and I'm not saying this is what you're saying, I'm just saying in general, I feel some people can take that as being too religious. And so, it's just been a very hard place to navigate because, like I said before, I understood coming into this sector, being the person that I am, it was going to be different. It was going to be challenging. Um, but I tried my hardest to just navigate it the best I knew. And I never tried to come off as being like I was better than anybody. I just feel when you have attained some real things, you want to share it. You don't want to keep it to yourself. And, I'm a teacher at heart. I love encouraging people. I love to help people see a different perspective on things because I want everybody to win. That's just my heart. I don't have the mentality to compete with anybody. I don't have a jealous bone in my body. I'm really all about celebrating and embracing um, others, because I feel we all have the capacity and we all have the potential to be better, to win in life. You know what I mean? And so that is just me. That's just where I come from, and how I approach people in general. One Love, I understand exactly what you're saying. I even had to check my heart posture about her and take a huge step from watching her directly. I totally get it. Totally get it. Hey Marquita, good to see you. Hey sweet sassafras. Um Good evening. I feel what did she say? I feel you're hurting about something else. I pray the Lord comforts you in your hard time. Um I'm not hurting. I just feel like I'm in a space where I'm really just trying to get back to me. I feel that, like I said, doing these videos and taking in all of this negative energy, it has done a number on me. It's been heavy. It's been a lot. But me taking this time away, I really was able to pour back into me and really, get back centered, because I was a little off center. I'm not going to lie. Um, Even getting back into my word more and just getting back to reading. Like I enjoy reading, and I wasn't really just reading like I used to. I was spending a lot of time, making these videos, pulling video clips, editing. That takes a lot of time on top of being a mom, on top of being a wife, on top of working. It was just a lot. And so I've been able to, just really get back to myself. And so, but yeah, I appreciate your prayers though. Liv will never change. She has no one in her life holding her accountable for her horrible choices in life. I mean, I do believe that, Olivia has, well, let me just rephrase that. I do understand um why you say that, because she does continue to show up as being the same person that we have been witnessing her to be for a very long time. So I definitely understand why so many people have that viewpoint on her. I just hope that that is not her final outcome, because that would be very sad and unfortunate. One Love, we will tune in on whatever you decide. I appreciate that. I do. And I'm always open for suggestions. You know, I'm definitely willing to, do any content that you well, let me rephrase that too. I am willing to consider any content that y'all would suggest me do. So I'm very open to that. Thank you. I love the Lord. I'm still trying to figure out. I know YouTube is doing these cool things. So two jewels. I'm assuming that's awesome. That's a good thing. So thank you. I thank you for that. The only way that Liv will change is if God humbles her, and only He can do it. I agree. Totally agree. Find your niche. I know that's what they all say, ain't it? It sounds so simple, but I'm trying to figure it out, Heaven. I really am. But I feel you. Don't leave. You will figure out something. I will be here. I appreciate that. Like I said, just give me some suggestions, y'all. Cause it's not that I want to leave. I'm just trying to figure out what other content I can give to y'all that would be beneficial. Talk about financial freedom. I can feel that. Speaking of, I will say this to y'all. I don't know if this is something that y'all have already been doing. If you are doing it, that is awesome. But y'all know, with the economy being what it is, and I know it's a little harder because everything has, just up, thing is increasing. I always encourage people to really try to start investing in silver. That is definitely something that, God kind of, led me and my husband to start doing. And I think it's wise to do, just because, the dollar is definitely losing its value. Is going down in value every single year. And so that is one advice that I would give, if you're able to. Um, is to invest in silver. You can do like silver, like 1 ounce silver bars or 1 ounce silver coins. And, if you could take $100 a month and just buy you one every month. But I definitely do recommend everyone investing in silver, because, um, silver, especially when you look at, how things are just, that can become a whole different story. Because I don't want to I don't want to scare anybody, but I just feel like the times that we're living in is very unpredictable, and I just feel like you just want to make sure you're preparing for just anything, and when you look at silver, silver is very affordable. Trying to invest in gold, it can be very unattainable because gold prices are so expensive. But silver is very affordable still. And silver is such a high commodity because silver is in everything, especially when you look at all these data centers that they are building everywhere. Um, they use silver as a main component. And so silver is definitely just something that it has great value in a lot of things that we use day to day. So I would just encourage everyone to just start investing in 1 ounce silver bars or 1 ounce silver coins, or you can do both. The other thing I would advise is I know we all have savings accounts. If you don't, you should. But I always advise people to start saving in a high yielding savings account because when you are putting your money into a regular savings account, like through a regular bank, you barely, um, well, I would say a lot of these interest rates that you earn is like 0.001, which is crazy. But if you put your money into a high yielding savings account, depending on how much money you're putting in there, you can earn free money, you know? And a lot of these high yielding savings accounts, they will start you out at earning like around 3.5, 3.50% on your dollar. And one of the places that I recommend that I use is Wealthfront. That is one of the high yielding savings accounts that we use. But I do recommend because you want to be able to earn like real money on your money that you're saving. And you have the potential in earning a lot of good money, a lot of free money when you're putting your money in the right type of savings account. So I would just advise of those two things, especially now, because like I said, there's a lot of uncertainty in this economy. And yeah, so um, she says we are all haters. We just want to see her do better. I agree. I totally agree. Hey, Corinne Stone. We enjoy both love. She doesn't have the discipline to make him a star. That takes a lot of hard work on her end. I think if AJ gets bigger than her, she would be jealous of him. Girl, I can definitely feel that. Hey, hey Meta, good to see you. I missed you too. Hey, Banana Muffin. Good to see you. Um, you should never treat one child better than the other. My heart goes out to AJ. I totally feel you. Totally feel you. Are you trying to start a ministry? Um, that's a loaded question. It's not so much that I'm trying to start a ministry. Um, I'm not sure why you asked the question, but because I'm a little behind on the comments, but I'm thinking you may have, I'm not sure, but I'll just say that um, God has put me in different spaces that is kind of representing ministry, if you will. Like I have conducted different groups, like I've had like women groups, I've had women and men groups. um God has had me like kind of counsel different people along the way to help them. um so it's a kind of loaded question because I don't know how much to share, and I'm not sure if I'm even answering your question correctly, so I apologize if I'm not. um I agree. It's time for everyone to wrap it up talking about her. I think that with all the negativity she gets, that one day she may hurt herself or them babies. I pray that doesn't ever happen. Yeah, I mean, I do feel that, we've kind of heard from Gerard that I think Gerard has said it, Zolo has said it, that she has, threatened to unalive herself at one time or the other. And I think we all have kind of seen psychotic breaks along the way too. And so I do feel that Olivia tries very hard to mask her mental health and, what's really going on with her. And so I would hate for what she deals with on social media to be her breaking point. But, I just feel too that Olivia should, and I know that's kind of hard to say too, especially when you're dealing with somebody who is not really coming from a healthy mind state. But social media is definitely not helping. If anything, it's making it worse. So I do understand why you said what you said. Um, will you change commentary? There's so much to speak on. I just don't know what interests people. I do a lot of deep dives on a lot of different things, but I'm just not sure where people's interest levels are. So I'm open to doing commentary. I'm just trying to figure out what would be of interest to y'all. Hey, Black and Bougie, good to see you. I think you're sweet, um, little too forgiving for my taste, but I still enjoy your commentary. Understood. She's stopping. Oh, I think you're answering. Okay. Are you thinking of changing your content? I am. I'm just trying to figure out what that content would be. Um, hey Ashley, good to see you. Yes, watching Live is exhausting and very draining. It's too much mentally, and honestly, I'm tired of hearing about her and her downward spirals. Yeah, it's definitely a lot. Hey, Bottoms Up, good to see you. Hey, Sang, good to see you. You probably do good reacting to good moms because you're a very positive person or react to viral videos. Yeah, I know some people had gave me some suggestions on some good moms. I just haven't taken the time out to really watch, but that is something to consider for sure. Hey, boss lady, have you thought about giving your testimony on when God called you? I believe it would reach and help a lot of people. Blessings to you and your family. Thank you. I haven't thought about it because it's not that I wouldn't want to. I just kind of felt that wouldn't be something that I want to see here in this sector. But I definitely don't mind sharing that at all. Yeah, I would be open to that. I recommend an IRA Roth in addition to high yield savings account. Yeah, I'm not against that. You have me crying and praising right now. I'm going through a lot and I thank you. Well, praise God for that. I've got you. You got me crying. Oh, thank you for everything. For everything. I truly need this right now. I'm glad to hear that. Wow, I think I made it to the end. Just know that God knows what you're going through and He hears your cries and prayers. Just hold on and keep trusting Him. He got you. Amen. Thank you for sharing that with her. Welcome back. We missed you. I appreciate it. Missed y'all too. Wow. Well, I made it to the end. I was thinking I wasn't going to be able to make it to y'all or make it to the end of all y'all's comments. But yeah, I just appreciate y'all. I told my son I was only going to be on here for an hour and it's been 2 hours. But thank y'all for just, listening and conversating with me. I really appreciate y'all for showing up and just hearing what I had to say. Definitely missed y'all. Um, I just want y'all to know that, me getting to know y'all, that was truly sincere. Um, I've definitely enjoyed getting to know y'all and, just kind of getting a feel of who y'all are. Cause I know it's hard when, we're not really just chopping it up like that. But, I definitely, just wanted to make sure that, I didn't wait any longer before coming back and just, at least explaining to y'all what's been going on and, why I've been away. But, I'm open to any suggestions. So if you don't want to comment it under this video, you can email me um at well, you can go to my about section on my channel and get the email. Sometimes I forget the email address off the top of my head. But yeah, my email address is on my about section on my channel. But yeah, if you feel more comfortable doing it that way, you definitely can. You can reach out to me. I am on Instagram. I haven't really done anything on there just because um I was using Instagram just as a means for people to kind of reach out if they wanted to message me that way. So that's what that Instagram account was set up for. But I'm very open to suggestions. But I'm not going to keep y'all. I appreciate y'all for hanging out with me this long. Um, I think you would do great on teaching people financial independence. Um, Let's see. I'm looking forward to some positivity on YouTube and some laughs. I hear you. But thank y'all again. I hope y'all have a blessed evening. I hope y'all have a blessed rest of the week. And yeah, I guess we will speak soon, hopefully. Good night to everyone. And yeah, I will talk to y'all later. Good night. Bye.